Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And first of all, let me say that I agree with virtually everything that you've said, particularly as the underlying issue here, which I think is the warming relations that were happening between Saudi Arabia and Israel. I think those were probably the precipitating factor that caused Iran to pull the trigger. And Iran did pull the trigger, in my judgment, got the people who are Arabs to rise up against Israel, knowing exactly what the consequences would be, and then attempting to, and successfully in many instances, turn the world against Israel for responding as they did. I think you've got that called just right. I think that that's what's happened. Like you, I pray that when this is over, that we can continue on, and a number of us are meeting with Saudi officials to urge that. My problem, of course, it goes back to your performance previously, and to quote from the Washington Post opinion piece, it says, Liu must explain why in 2015 he promised the same committee that he would not allow Iran access to U.S. financial system under the recently announced nuclear deal with Iran, yet secretly tried to do just that by working to turn $5.7 billion in Iranian assets into easily convertible currency via U.S. banks. So I'm going to pursue that line at this point. I want to ask you, first of all, if you recall sitting in that very chair in July of 2015 and stating, quote, will continue under the JCPOA, Iran will continue to be denied access to U.S. financial and commercial markets. Do you recall stating?
Mr. Chairman, I remember that testimony well, and I believe that we kept Iran from becoming part of the U.S. financial system, and I'm happy to discuss the implementation of the JCPOA. I know you and I may not agree on the policy of
That's an understatement.
The JCPOA, but what we did was we implemented a policy that was transparent, that I testified before this committee on in terms of what was being done. We negotiated with Iran to have them roll back their nuclear program, in exchange for which they would get access to money that was their money that we had frozen. All we did was facilitate that transaction. So we did not welcome them back into the U.S. financial system.
Did you, on February 24, 2016, issue a specific license to Bank Muscat, authorizing Iranian assets worth roughly $5.7 billion to flow through the United States financial system?
We did issue licenses. I do not recall.
Yes.
I do not recall whether those licenses were the vehicle through which funds moved. I don't believe they were. But the concern was we had made an agreement to return money transparently in this committee, and returning that money was the bargain for a nuclear deal. That's all we did.
Are you telling us you notified us that on February 24, 2016, you had authorized that specific license to Bank Muscat?
Mr. Chairman, that was a specific license, and there is not a practice of notifying specific licenses. General licenses are published. Specific licenses are not.
I want to quote one of the executives from Bank Muscat when they said there was a gigantic breakthrough which has assured Iran of almost full global financial inclusion. And that was in response to the license that you issued on February 24, 2016.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I can't speak to what someone at the Bank of Muscat said. What I can tell you is the government of Iran believed that we did not give them what they expected, which was full access to the world financial system. They complained that my actions were what kept them from getting full access to the world financial system. I know that some of you are going to ask me questions about what my team said when they went around the world. My team went around the world telling banks all over the world, we did not lift the sanctions on terrorism. We did not lift the sanctions on human rights violations. We did not lift the sanctions on regional destabilization. Be careful. And Iran thought that kept them from getting what they thought they should get. We did the letter of the agreement, gave them what was agreed to in the JCPOA, nothing more.
Well, my time's almost up. I have to tell you that this is something we knew nothing about at the time that you issued that license. And we believe that that was a direct contravention of what you told us here in this committee in July of 2015. And to be honest with you, I am deeply disappointed with that. As I said, to me, this whole thing's about Iran. And holding hands with Iran under the table doesn't work for me. And I'm deeply disappointed that you issued that license, deeply disappointed that you didn't tell us about it, deeply disappointed that you misled us in July when we had that meeting. And my time is up, Mr. Chairman. I yield, underwhelmed and unpersuaded. Thank you.
Senator Menendez.